one thing I would like to add that's overarching about the concept of activities is taking the student's perspective into account, increases engagement. So the 3 C's, if you give some students some choice, if they have an opportunity of, it could be topic, it could be medium, it could be how are they going to demonstrate what they've learned. If you can include student choice, engagement's going to go up. If you can spark student curiosity, and again, that goes to real relevance and meaning. Is there an application of what they're being asked to do or how they're being asked to engage that's relevant to their current situation or their future career or something along those lines? And then creativity. And I suppose that goes with a little bit with choice, but if they have creative license and they can design something that they can put their own thumbprint on it, those 3 aspects of an activity that you're going to assign a student to do are going to increase not only the quality of their product, but their engagement because they're interested in it. And so whatever it is, the activity, and it doesn't work for everything because sometimes you need it to be in this template or, this is the task. And so I'm going to do it. But finding those ways throughout the semester that when students are doing a product, when they are doing an assignment, when they are engaging in the learning, that they have some choice. They can explore their curiosity and they get to use their creativity to do that. I think you're going to see a higher interest in the students for doing what you have them do.
So if you are, would you say that like almost every class, I sort of used this before, rubrics, and I think came to the conclusion, every class can use these. Do you think it's possible for every class to have choice, curiosity, creativity? I mean, if we're doing biology, we're learning about meiosis and mitosis. I mean, either know that or you don't. Do you think every class is able to have those?
Yes.
Okay. Next question.
I've been talking a lot here, but even take like a math or a science class where it's more like you're looking for a right answer. You need to have 17 square root 45, whatever as the answer. But even how you explain that answer, the medium that I can do it, I'm going to make a video that shows me working through the project. That allows students to have some creativity. That's choice and creativity. Even if you're really narrow in what the content that you're expecting students to demonstrate, there are ways to allow for choice and creativity. It doesn't fit. I see where your question is going. It doesn't fit with every assignment. So there's some times where I just need to practice doing these math problems and I don't have any choice. If I have choice in my answers, then I'm going to get them wrong because I choose the answer to be 3. Nope, not it.
Postmodern.
Right. So there's time and place, but even as you said with rubrics, a lot of times I'll have a creative trait on the rubric. And we'll get into that maybe more in session 4 when we talk about some of the ways that students can submit projects or do things, and where that might be appropriate to say, I'm gonna evaluate your creativity on this assignment. Some of you, I feel like I've been talking a lot. Like some of you others jump in here.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head. It's choice, and whether that choice is big. For instance, I can give my students a choice project where I tell them within this large content area, they can study anything within this area on their own for the term, and then they can choose how they present what they've learned. That's a big choice project. It's ambiguous by nature. It's supposed to be really about them creating some learning for themselves. But on the other hand, I can say, here's a very defined piece of content I want you to tell me what you've learned about, but I will give you a choice in how you show me what you've learned. So I give them the firm definition and they get to choose how the product comes out, or I give them the broad and say, surprise me, because really you've got to learn how to be a learner. College students end up getting so used to having the syllabus so delineated for them, they don't really have to think outside the box. So to push the box open and say, go figure this out, and start to grow that independent learner in you. I'm constantly amazed what students will come up with, and the heart and energy they'll put into choice. Mm-hmm. So I think choice is just absolutely huge if we want to pull students into our content on some level.
Yeah, and I would also add to that, Jen, that I found that when I give students choice, one, they're often perplexed by it or struck. They're like, wait, my whole academic career has been somebody's assigned something, I follow through with it, and I do it. I'm obligated to completing that task. But then when you give them choice, they're kind of thrown for it a little bit. But then it allows them the flexibility to engage with that choice in a way that brings about like the creative aspects that we want them to do. And I found that with students, by offering choice to them, it's so freeing for them in many respects. And part of that comes with brainstorming as well. So I think a large part of that is brainstorming, not only with us, the faculty member, but certainly amongst their peers as well. Because I get stuck in ruts as well. And so that's where I sometimes look to my colleagues for brainstorming ideas, or go to resources like Greg showed earlier, whether they're in textbooks or even online. And so finding those kinds of outlets where I can actually be more creative in the choices that I'm producing. And I think exempling that to students as well is a part of the learning curve for them, so that I'm showing them that they have a choice here, and I'm going to allow you these options. And so it's a big piece of it. But I like the aspects of brainstorming or creative dialogue with other people that can bring into that choice making, and then let them make the ultimate decision. It's a scary proposition for some of them. They think, man, I'm going to fail if I don't get this right. But and I often tell them, like, well, if you do fail, at least you'll learn either A, you won't do that again, or B, maybe you need to just adjust some things so the next time it actually does work. But it's still an important part of learning.
And the important thing about if you're going to give a big choice project, or even if you say to them they have choice in how they present their learning, you have to give them the defined assessment criteria. So you have to have that rubric already there. If they can follow what the rubric's asking of, your choice project should have this many examples in it, or it should be tied to your professional learning. They need to have some boundaries in that to guide how they put a presentation together. But if you free them up with a little bit of that and have a rubric available to them, it's really, really exciting to see what our students will do.
Is it good also to have examples, Jen? Like, here's, from a previous class, here's a good example that a student did, just to give them an idea. It's like, oh, I could do something like that. I'm not going to copy that, but
I don't like to give examples when I want them to be really creative, because it suddenly limits their thinking. Yeah. That the teacher showed us this as, even if I said this is a medium, like this is just a regular old B, right? This isn't the exemplar of the world. Suddenly that becomes the exemplar, and I get 15 of the same thing. So I give them very clear expectations through the rubric. I give them freedom. And then what I say to them is I give them deadlines, like, by this date, I want you to tell me what your topic is. So I help them start to build some structure without telling them what to do. I want your topic by this date. And what I would have is they'd come tell me a topic, and I go, that sounds perfect, go for it. Now they have permission to be creative. Or I'd say, I think you're going down the wrong road. How about you think about it this way? Here's something to go read and give you some ideas. And you help them find structure without giving them that structure, because the minute you show them an example, you've limited their thought processes on how to approach the topic or how to approach their project.
If you're
my estimate is my
if you're going to show an example, you need to show like 8.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these two people made video. This person wrote a poem. This person made a PowerPoint presentation. This person, so you're actually showing them kind of the choice in how they could communicate the medium, but you have 8 of them, not just one, because if you show 1 or 2, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's all you'll get.
Yeah. So curiosity, how do we, because curiosity is the key, right? I mean, it's if we can find a way to kindle curiosity, it's like a self-driving car, right? I mean, it's like a pendulum that just keeps going forever and ever, right? Because if they're curious about something, they are going to have a built-in motivation to learn. Is there a way to spark that in our students?
Choice. You give them option. You give them the ability to pursue what they're interested in. I mean, that's what choice is it's to engage the curiosity. It's not to achieve my content goals. It's to engage curiosity as a learner, I think. I had my students get on Twitter. They were required to be on Twitter for class, and they had to read stuff on education, what was happening in education around the country. They had to find things that were sparking curiosity. And it was fun to watch them get engaged in conversations around things that we weren't teaching in class, but were relevant to their professional goals. So I think it's what you offer them.
So Greg, you've been
I think a big part of curiosity is contagious as well. I think we set an example for them by being curious ourselves, exploring things with them in class and talk about the things that fascinate us. And I think they learn not just the content from us, but they learn the learning skill of being curious and pursuing creative ideas.
That's so important. It's a lot about the questions you ask. You know, if you come to the end of a class period and you're like, I wonder about this, let's all go see what we can find on this for the next class. Even if you already know, even if I already know what the answer is, or what, you know, that's a great question that a student had. Let's, as a community of learners, let's all go do a little research. Let's go find out the information. And then when we come back, the first 5 minutes of our next class, you tell me what you found. And I'm gonna look it up too, even though maybe I do already know it. But we are a community of learners, and you set that expectation of this in this class. We're all in it together, and we're gonna explore and we're gonna find out. It really is finding those moments to say, I wonder if, or what about this, or could it be like this? What if we did this? And go.
Yeah.
And you can actually, in any kind of teaching setting, you can end the session with an unresolved question. You can drive towards curiosity. And either they may bring that up, or you may actually suggest it to the class. It can happen both ways. And you're right, Aaron. It's the idea that, like, that's a really good question. And so I may not necessarily.
We're out of time. All right.
Yeah. So let's come back next time, and let's talk about and see if we can all see if there is a plausible answer to this.
I almost think it's easier to do something like that in remote learning than it is face-to-face, because we're limited by time. We feel like I come to face-to-face, well, I need all 50 minutes to do whatever I have to do next. But in a remote learning setting, I give them my 5 to 10 minutes of whatever, and then maybe we do a whole class Zoom or small group Zoom, and there's a question that comes up, and I said, I'm going to create a forum that you go find something and post it here, and then we're all going to look at what everybody finds. And so if I have a class of 25, all of a sudden within 2 days, I have 25 links to a different article or resources that then everybody else looks like. I really think that curiosity can almost be enhanced in a remote learning, because we're not limited by the time of face-to-face meetings.
Yeah.
Good.
And that's so important. And your soul has to be well in order to be curious too. Like if you get too tired, because it seems to me curiosity hits us in the shower or on a walk with the dog. Like if I ever have to have a deep thought, I just take the dog for a walk, and it's usually along a certain part of the park where you're just kind of, your mind just wanders, where it's like, oh, that's how I can connect these things, or that's what's going on. And that's probably something that each of us in our personal wellness, as we think about just who we are, I think I need more space in my life a lot of time, because if you get busy, you don't have time to be curious. You just have time to be busy.